Gentlemen, this is another off-the-cuff video. I'd like to talk a little bit about learning Thai and just some reflections on learning the Thai language. I have spent about 860 hours now learning the Thai language over the course of, well, it's coming up almost 2 years now. I started studying Thai on the 7th of January 2013. So, yeah, to reach the 2 year mark studying Thai, I guess it's an achievement. And I want to talk a little bit about some of the benefits that I've noted. When I'm in Thailand and I'm speaking Thai to the Thais, and with the people I'm interacting with, mostly the lower class and working class Thais, particularly the ladyboys involved in the naughty nightlife. It's very interesting, some of the things that they've said to me, that out of all the Farangs that they interact with, very few of the Farangs have learned to speak Thai, and even fewer have learned to read and write Thai. So that places me in the 1% because a number of Thais have said to me, probably about 1 out of 100 Thais, 1 out of 100 Farangs that they've come into contact with have bothered to learn their language as well as learn to read and write. So it's just interesting. I've been able to develop a level of closeness with some of these Thai people, especially the ladyboys I deal with, which I guess it's been very valuable to me, very helpful to me in, I guess, understanding the Thai culture, and it's made me realise the importance of language, just as a social construct to get to know people and to try to understand the culture and the environment that you're in. I guess language is so very important, and to spend 2 years and coming up to almost 900 hours now studying Thai, it's it's a big thing to devote that amount of time and effort into it, but it's been worth it. And I wanted to make this video just to let everyone know that it has been worth it to learn Thai, and because of the things I'm doing in Thai, I mean, I talk about on my channel all the some of the outrageous things I'm doing, but there are other things that I'm working on in Thailand which I can't go into. But there's some other important reasons why I've decided to learn Thai, and I'm glad that I started at the street level, I guess, interacting with the lower and working class Thais, because I need to go up to the highest levels of Thai society, and learning languages, I guess, really helped me to do that. Now, I haven't interacted with any so-called high-so Thais at the moment, but I expect to in the not-too-distant future. And I think learning the language is a big thing to try to get that buy-in from people, which is so very important when you're coming to build relationships, and especially if you need to work with Thais, which that's definitely something that will be in my future. I will be working with the Thais. I expect to be in a management role, dealing with the Thais, and there's a lot of things I need to know, but some of the things that I've done in the naughty nightlife, I think, have helped me. Some of them might have set me back. I mean, there's certain things that in the way that I speak Thai, which I guess I've developed some of the local lingo, which ladyboys have taught me, which may not be the greatest thing if I'm talking to middle to upper class or high so Thai, but it's been a valuable and very enriching and rewarding activity. But what it's meant, I want to talk a bit about what I've been doing over the past 2 years to learn Thai. And what it's meant is that I haven't had a television that entire time. I practically haven't read a newspaper in that time, because really I've only got enough time to get up, go and exercise, then learn Thai for about an hour, then get off and go to work, and then get home, do some more exercise, and keep studying Thai again. So I've averaged around about an hour and a half to 2 hours a night uh, for almost uh, for almost 2 years, but I'm still not fully proficient. So it takes about 1,100 class hours to become proficient in Thai, and I'm almost up to about 900 hours now. So proficiency is different to fluency. And when I'm in Thailand, if the Thais speak slowly enough, I can understand them. But if they're talking a million miles a minute, which a lot of them do, I do find it somewhat difficult. But yeah, if there's any Thai people out there who are interested in my channel, if any of you are fans, please become known to me. Maybe send me an email, and if you speak Thai, I'd be very interested in talking with you, or at least emailing you, because I think I can act as a bridge in some ways between our two cultures. Um, as a highly educated Westerner who now speaks as well as can read and write Thai, that places me into a different category, and I think it's definitely, I guess, enriched my life, and now I can use these skills to help enrich other people's lives and to help people, and that's essentially what I want to do. I want to use these skills for the greater good, and there's business things I'm trying to achieve in Thailand, but on a personal level, I think that I can do a lot to help people. Perhaps even just to translate documents. I've started translating things that I see on YouTube, particularly certain MGTOW, who I've got a lot of respect for. I've started translating some of their material into the Thai language, just written Thai, but I'm possibly be interested in converting some of it into spoken Thai as well. So it'd be very interesting, really, because some of these concepts that we talk about in men going their own way, it would be interesting to get some of those things across to the Thais. Now, some of the ladyboys that I know are on my Facebook. They know the real pretender, the real person behind the pretender mask, and you know, it's been interesting conversing with them because I see whenever they put things up on Facebook and they're writing in Thai, I'm able to understand that and I'm able to reply back to that in Thai as well, which is very cool, and it's enabled me to gain a lot more insight into their society and to get into places which I wouldn't usually be able to get into as a Westerner. Doors have opened for me which would have remained closed for the run-of-the-mill Westerner who is just a tourist in Thailand. A number of times the Thais have remarked to me that they think that I must have been in the country a long time to develop the language skills that I have. But that's not true. I mean, I've had 5 trips, but I've just worked very, very hard to learn the language, very hard. And it's been one of the most important things in my life for the last 2 years, and I've stuck at it. And I've got a spreadsheet, and each day I've been going through and marking the spreadsheet as I learn some more Thai, and I've added up all the days, and it's been interesting going back through the spreadsheet and seeing how I've done, and look at all the time that I've spent, and it really, I guess, highlights to you that just like in any activity in life, it's the things that you do or don't do on a daily basis that add up over a very long period of time to one large end result. And it's fascinating that success in any endeavor really is about these small things, either done or not done. And here we are after 2 years, where at the start I wouldn't have believed it, that I'd be able to read and write Thai and to speak, understand the language, speak to the Thais, and give speeches in Thai. I just would not have believed that I'd be able to do that. And yet here I am now, and I am giving speeches in Thai on camera. I guess the real me in the real world, and it's been a fascinating journey to be able to do that. And even when I see myself giving these speeches, I look at it, I think, shit, like I really have come a long way. But yeah, I mean, I'd encourage any MGTOW out there who have an interest in different cultures and especially MGTOW who are interested in traveling, that learning another language is a very good thing to do to enrich both your life as well as the lives of others to help other people. Um, the next language I will probably learn will be Hindi, and that's for business reasons. So I expect to probably spend the next 2 years learning Hindi. So I'll be proficient in both Thai as well as Hindi and completely fluent in English, which I guess that's a very valuable set of languages there that I know. And I guess it does add to my marketability uh, in the business world because I can manage a team of people in Thailand. I could definitely do that now as a Westerner, and I'd be bringing Western management techniques to Thailand, and I'm one of the few Westerners who's bothered to learn the language, so it pretty much would place me quite high up there as a candidate for jobs in Thailand on expat packages. And also, studying Hindi to spend 2 years doing that, I could do the same thing over in India. So that opens up some enormous possibilities, especially when you look at the differences in the wages of both countries and um, yeah, the opportunities that are available at a management level, especially at a business level, to manage a team of Indians or a team of Thais to achieve results in the business world. I bought a book on recommendation of a trusted Westerner that I know in Thailand. A book, it's called Working with the Thais, A Guide to Managing in Thailand. Very interesting. Talks about the hierarchical structure of Thai society and saving face and all of those sorts of concepts. And it's funny, a lot of Westerners, they only really touch on some of this stuff, but because I've spent enough time in Thailand to see all the different Thai smiles and to I guess, integrate myself into some of the various groups over there, all this stuff has become very important to me. But yeah, I guess I'm at the point now where I literally do have two homes, two societies that I can choose from. I've got the West, where I've grown up in, and all my friends and family are, and I've got Thailand, which potentially I could retire to after the age of 50, or I could go there on a work visa and go and work there for a while. But if I was to go to Thailand, there'd be various things, full time, given the way the society is structured with some of the laws and business rules and everything. It can be very difficult for a foreigner because you can't own land in your own name in Thailand. Any business has to be 51% owned by a Thai. And the thing about Thailand, they make it very easy for you to spend money, but very hard for you to make it. And that's one of the biggest reasons why I've decided to, I guess, stay in the West full time, earn as much money as I can here, and then take these trips to Thailand. And I've been traveling 3 or 4 times a year to Thailand now. And I think that's the way to go because of the risks involved in setting up a business in Thailand. I've got all respect for foreigners who do it, but it's a very difficult thing to do. It's very high risk, and in many ways, you're better off staying in the West, earning the highest wage that you can here, and then spending it in Thailand. And even though it'd be fantastic to stay in Thailand longer instead of just taking trips, Thailand has a way of, I guess, how can I say it? Your emotions are all over the shop when you're there as a Western male, if you're involving yourself in the Nordic nightlife like I am. And you've got to be very careful because all the different emotions that you feel over there, it's so very intoxicating for a Western man because you come from the West and you're used to dealing in the environment here in the West and the way that women are here. You walk into a nightclub and it's difficult to pick up, and it's just an irritating experience. Whereas you go over to a place like Pattaya and it's Disneyland, so you've got to be careful. So I think there needs to be some balance. But it's not the easiest thing to do to balance both worlds. But it is very nice to know that I have got another country that I can go to or retire to, and I've built up a level of wealth as a man going his own way that even now at the age of 35, I've got enough in my pension scheme that I'll never have to worry about money once I retire, which is a great thing, I think. But that money won't buy as much here in the West as what it would in Thailand. And I could live an amazing lifestyle over in Thailand when I retire, but I think I have to balance now with then. So, but yeah, I just wanted to, in this video, just talk a little bit about these thoughts about the language and about learning the language and about some of these other things with Thailand. Yeah, anyone out there who's thinking of learning another language, I'd encourage you as a MGTOW that you've got the time to be able to do that and to devote to that language, because the amount of time and effort that it takes is substantial. Don't listen to all those emails that say learn a language in 10 days or become fluent in 3 months. All that's nonsense. I mean, let's be clear. To learn a foreign language, it is difficult. It takes time. It is hard, it's hard work. It's not easy. You need to immerse yourself in the language. You need to spend probably 2 hours a day for 2 years before you become proficient, not fluent, proficient. You need to take trips. You need to speak to local Thais. You need to converse with people who are proficient in the language. You need to make friends over in the foreign country. You need to write to them on a regular basis. And that's not that easy a thing to do. And some of the reasons that I have taken some of these Thai ladyboy prostitutes into my, I guess, friendship circle and having them on my Facebook, whilst it can be a bit of a dangerous thing, I explained to them from the very beginning why I was in Thailand. Much of it was for business reasons, and that I wanted to develop a friendship with them, and I wanted to speak to them in Thai. And whilst I could have done this with a Thai interpreter, we've got a Thai school here where I live. But there's something about being able to, I guess, meet both needs. And I wanted to experiment with my sexuality. I wanted to experiment in Thailand, and I wanted to form some the basis of some friendships. And whilst these people are working in the nightlife, the way I figured it, if someone is, doing something, or if someone represents something that's against the status quo, and gender is a flashpoint, if someone has to work extra hard to be accepted by society, because of their gender, because they're transgender, that in some ways gives you an advantage. If you treat that person very well, if you give them acceptance, tolerance and respect, then they will project those feelings back to you and treat you the same way. And because they're very rarely treated very well over there in Thailand, you can develop, and they will develop a level of trust in you and friendship with you. And I've certainly benefited from that over the last 2 years since I've been taking these trips. And I've formed friendships with a number of ladyboys who are working in the naughty nightlife, and I intend to continue with these friendships over time, and possibly develop more. I will probably sign up to a language school here where I live, as well as over in Thailand, if I take longer trips over there. But I guess it's really achieved a number of objectives for me with the ladyboys, to be able to understand them and vice versa. So yeah, that's probably all I've got to say about the language. And yeah, as I said, anyone out there who's considering learning language, you've got the time as a MGTOW. Do it now before you've got a family. do it now before you've got any kind of significant other in your life. Because once you've got a girlfriend, once you've got kids, that would be very, very difficult to do. To be able to spend that time and devote it to I guess the difficult task of learning a foreign language. So, um, พอมีความสุขเพราะว่าพอเรียนภาษาไทย I'm happy that I learnt the Thai language. And all the best, gentlemen. Till next time on The Pretender.